Hi, I'm Jen Reese, and I work at the Center for Family Involvement at the Family to Family Network at VCU. I'm the Northern Virginia Regional Network Coordinator. I'm also a mom to two daughters, a 14-year-old and a 10-year-old. And my 14-year-old has a seizure disorder and physical and intellectual disabilities. I'm a former Medicaid service facilitator, and my daughter's been on a Medicaid waiver since she was a year old. And then got a DD waiver, and I'm on the DD waiver slot assignment committee for Loudoun County. So a little bit about our family's experience with Medicaid. My daughter was hospitalized at a week old for seizures, and it was pretty intense, and they're not controlled by medication. And we found out it's a genetic disorder later on. We found out about Medicaid because an early intervention therapist really pushed me to sign up for the waiver when my daughter was a year old. And at the time, my husband and I were both working in the tech field. And I was like, we work in the tech field. I live in Northern Virginia. We make Northern Virginia salaries. Like, I'm not going to qualify for Medicaid. And so she had to explain that Medicaid waivers are different. The qualifications are different. And they're really there for kids with disabilities or people with disabilities. And for kids, it's not dependent on parent income. So the things that it's helped us with is co-pays, because if she was going to therapy, physical therapy 3, 4, 5 times a week, every time you go, you pay a $50 copay. And so those really start to add up. It also helped with durable medical equipment. And her first wheelchair cost more than my first car. And her hospital bed, our primary insurance wouldn't even pay for. And so Medicaid picked up the difference and paid the, to cover that. It's also helped us in that it provides personal care attendance for her. So she was not ever going to be able to go to daycare. And so we were able to have people come into the house and take care of her. So my husband and I were able to continue working full time. So she had, basically a starter waiver, I'll call it, and then got on the DD wait list in 2009 and received a DD waiver in 2017. And I'll explain the differences in a little bit. So what is a Medicaid waiver? So Medicaid waivers are joint federal and state-run programs, and they provide a special set of services to certain groups. And some Medicaid requirements are bypassed or what they call waived. Within states, a person may waive going into an institution and be able to receive services at home and in the community. And in Virginia, parent income is not taken into account for waivers, just the person's disability. So again, Medicaid is insurance that pays for health and human services, and funding comes from the federal and the state level. So in Virginia, it's a little confusing because we have Medicaid waivers, and then we also just have Medicaid, which was provided by Medicaid expansion it was approved in January 2019, and it doesn't have anything to do with Medicaid waivers. So it's Medicaid insurance eligibility based only on income. And sometimes this is the traditional thoughts behind Medicaid and why I felt like we weren't going to qualify for Medicaid because I knew what our income was. And the graphic here shows, the changes in eligibility for income that happened after Virginia expanded Medicaid. And waivers provide long-term supports and services in the community. So, but if you're financially eligible for Medicaid, your child maybe doesn't qualify for a waiver, they're still able to secure some extra services. And especially for kids with autism, ABA would be helpful. Hearing aids a lot of times aren't covered in private primary health insurance, and personal care attendance. And this is through a program called EPSDT. I'll explain it more in a second. But for regular Medicaid, based only on financial income, you would go to coverva.org, and it has the updated income guidelines and the applications for Medicaid. But again, this is not a Medicaid waiver. This is straight Medicaid based on financial income. So EPSDT is just an extra piece from the federal government that has said their Medicaid, or the state decides what services they're going to provide with Medicaid. EPSDT is kind of an overall catch-all, which will provide extra services for kids through Medicaid. And so if you're under 21 with Medicaid, the extra services may be, vaccines, screenings, labs and diagnostics, assistive technology, and durable medical equipment. And a lot of times assistive technology would maybe be used for kids using talkers or, an iPad and communication devices, and durable medical equipment if they need leg braces, and again, eyeglasses and hearing aids, nursing, dental services. So with the EPSDT qualifier on Medicaid, you can get creative, and if you're able to justify it, help a family who is getting Medicaid, some extra services that would be helpful for their child. So again, we have Medicaid based on financial income, and then there's Medicaid waivers, which are long-term supports and services. And in Virginia, there's a couple of different kinds. There's the Commonwealth Coordinated Care Plus Waivers, and this is long-term care for the elderly and people of any age with disabilities who meet the criteria for nursing facility level of care. So if you have a person who's living with you, and if they were not living with someone who could take care of them, they would qualify for a nursing home. They would need nursing home level of care. It's currently operated under a managed care model. So the CCC Plus Waiver offers a variety of services, personal care services, which again, we use to help someone come into the house to take care of my daughter. At times we had private duty nursing because she does have a feeding tube and sometimes requires oxygen. Respite for the parents, which is always, something necessary when you're dealing with a parent who has a child with special needs. Personal emergency response system, which is the I've fallen and I can't get up button. And so a lot of times they'll get that for some adults. Adult day healthcare, assistive technology, environmental modifications. And then there's also transition services to the home and the community. So if they were in an institution and transitioning back to the home or, living in the community. The other waiver that is available is called the Developmental Disability Waiver. And it's really one umbrella, and there's 3 types of waivers under that umbrella. So first is the Building Independence Waiver. And this is for adults 18 years and older who are able to live independently. In some instances, this may be a person with Down syndrome who's able to work and live on their own, but maybe need some help with managing their money and paying rent. There may be some job supports, but they don't need supports all the time. And this Building Independence Waiver right now doesn't have a wait list. The next 2 qualifications do have a very long wait list. So the next one is the Family Individual Supports Waiver. And this waiver is available to both kids and adults. And the person may live with their family and friends in their own home, and they may need supports with medical and or behavioral needs. The Community Living Waiver is the one my daughter has. And this is available again, both to adults and children. And people on this waiver usually require supports in their home all the time. So she has high medical needs, but this would also be for folks who have high behavioral needs as well. And, this one, it provides just those extra services that I know she's going to need, especially as she's an adult or if my husband and I aren't around to help take care of her. So some of the services available through the DD waiver are employment and day services, group supported employment, day support. Then there's also crisis supports. So if there's a behavioral crisis or, some sort of crisis going on with the individual, they're able to secure assistance. There's residential options. And then additional services include assistive technology, benefits planning, employment and community transportation, environmental modifications, which, for those who aren't aware, maybe if there's a bathroom that has a tub and your family member uses a roll-in bath chair, they're able to make it so. In our house in particular, we have a bath chair that just rolls right into the shower. She's not able to stand up. And if she were to lay down in the tub, that wouldn't work for her either. So there's electronic home-based services. Again, the personal emergency response system, community guides, transition services, and then peer mentor supports. So there's different access and screening for the 2 different kinds of waivers. So we have the CCC Plus Waiver, which screening is done through the community. So it's either the Department of Health or Department of Social Services. It really depends what county you're in as to who's doing that screening. Additionally, that screening can be done in a hospital setting. So if someone is in the hospital, the social workers there can help. And the tool that's used for that is called the Universal Assessment Instrument. And it's a document that goes through and really evaluates how much assistance this person needs for what they call activities for daily living. And those include showering and feeding themselves, what their mobility issues are, what their understanding is of safety and stranger danger, and if there's elopement issues, all those things are taken into account. The other waivers, the DD waivers, which again was that umbrella of the 3 waivers, the building independence, family individual support, community living, the only place to get screened for this, and it's dependent on county or area, is the Community Services Board, or what's called the Behavioral Health Authority. And they use a different tool, a different document called the Virginia Individual DD Eligibility Survey, and it's called the VIDES. So you can Google and look up either the UAI or the VIDES and be able to look at those documents and see maybe where your family member or an individual might fall and which waiver would be best served, would best serve them. And so, the screening tools are different. They evaluate for different things. Again, the CCC Plus, you have to have a high medical need, nursing home facility, admission being a risk. And then the DD waivers takes into account some more of the items going on in your regular life, your communication ability, task learning skills, personal and self-care, behaviors, community living skills, and self-direction. So again, for the CCC Plus waiver, functional needs are assessed. If they have a nursing or medical needs, risk of placement in nursing facility. They also have to meet Medicaid financial eligibility. So even though you have a waiver, you still can't be an independently wealthy person and using Medicaid waiver services. And the services have to be accepted within 30 days. And for the DD waiver, you have to have a diagnosis of a developmental disability, meet the level of care criteria from that VIDES document that they're going to assess you with, meet Medicaid financial eligibility, and accept services within 30 days. And again, in Virginia, for Medicaid waivers, the child's income is not, or the parent's income is not taken into account for children under 18. So the big distinguishing factors between the 2 waivers is that the CCC Plus waiver has no wait list, but you have to have a nursing home level of care. So this one can be super helpful for, like, my daughter qualified right away. She has seizures, she uses a feeding tube, she uses a wheelchair for mobility and needs total care. But this one isn't necessarily, and it's horrible to say it this way, but for someone who just has autism, because they may be able to take care of their personal healthcare needs, but they have other challenges with autism. And so that wouldn't necessarily qualify as a medical need or a medical issue in nursing home level of care. So this is, where a lot of people fall into that category. And so the DD waiver is the more appropriate waiver in that instance. But the thing with the DD waivers, there's a 12,000 person wait list in the state of Virginia. And this year they opened up 958 slots, and there's 12,000 people waiting and more people getting on the wait list every year. So once they're evaluated for the DD waiver, they're prioritized either a 1, 2, or a 3. And priority 1 means that you need this DD waiver immediately. Priority 2 means 1 to 5 years. You really are going to need it. And then priority 3 is 5 years and above. And a lot of times those prioritizations, higher priority needs, are maybe someone who is at risk for homelessness, doesn't have any other services, doesn't have family to take care of them. So or they're aging out of school is another issue as well. They're aging out of DEA. And so they will be given a priority 1, meaning they need the waiver right now. But as you'll see, there's not enough slots for the people who need it right now. And these are reviewed annually, and the waiver slots are actually given out from the DD waiver by the General Assembly of Virginia. And they open slots and emergency slots annually. And it's based on the budget and different discussions that go on at the state legislature level. So this concludes our discussion. Feel free to share this with families and our individuals. If anyone has any questions, you can always send them to us at the Center for Family Involvement. They can leave a message on our helpline. The phone number is listed here, or we also have email as well. So thanks for your time, and I hope you find this helpful.